Good afternoon, everyone. Forex Futures Brazil here. It is now just after 2 o'clock on Monday, March 4th, and just wanted to make this afternoon update on just to follow up on this morning's video that I made just before the New York North American Open. So let's just jump right in. So looking at soybeans first. You remember this morning I had this box drawn, and this area here I marked as kind of like a swing level on the higher time frame. So this is the 1 hour chart, and we had this minor level down here that made this new low, but I really kind of saw this as being the more important one. In fact, if I put the moving average back on here, you can see this lined up perfectly with the moving average. In terms of this particular level. So you can see what happened. So I had this box drawn. Price came up, tried to break out. We had a false breakout in this one candle right here on the hourly chart. And then we quickly reversed and came back out of this level. So we'll see what happens if there's follow through, whether this is just a pullback and then we blast higher here, or whether this was just a false breakout and we resume the downtrend. So this is at kind of an important level. We are sitting on top of the 50 period on the hourly chart now. If we go to a shorter time frame, though, you can see we had a pretty aggressive move back out of this zone. So, my bias on this, just respecting the long time frame, is that, this is probably still bearish and, we potentially might go down and make new lows. Now, if it holds here and it comes back through here again, then I think that would be very bullish on the other hand, and we'll probably go higher. But I'm not sure, what that's going to do. But in the meantime, like I said, I think you have to respect the longer term time frame. And this looks like to be a fake breakout, to kind of draw in traders to go long in this breakout, and then that fails and price immediately reverses back. Now again, this could just be a breakout and then retest, and then it goes higher. We'll have to see what ends up happening with this. But again, this was a pretty bearish move out of this zone. It kind of broke through all this support right here, retested it, and now, of course, it's just going sideways because the market is pretty much closed for the day. So we'll keep an eye on soybeans, but that's what happened with that one today. Let's look at live cattle. So live cattle, again, basically still in an uptrend here. We went to the shorter time frame, and I took an entry here. Hold on a second, I gotta fix this. I took an entry here this morning to go long off the bounce of this structure on the 5-minute chart, and this quickly reversed back, and I closed it. So I did take a small loss right here. And then once it broke this structure, then I went short right here. Now I did end up closing it a bit early. But, I basically got back what I lost here and then, added about the same amount. So I still end up being on the positive side with this particular asset today. Although it did kind of fool me on that false breakout because I thought we would go higher, understanding that the trend is still up. But you can see, we kind of may have this almost triple top up here. And each time it's gone up, price has not quite made it back. So we had this high. You see this one's probably slightly lower, and then this one's definitely lower. And then price broke down. And so we'll see what happens. We are still trading on the hourly chart above the 50 moving average. So I'm not sure if that will ultimately keep going. Let me just take these trades off here so we can see the chart on the higher time frame. So so you can see here, there's a potential big double top in place. So if we get, a nice close below here, and obviously this area down here kind of marks off, the really major support zone for this price. So we could, definitely see price continue to work down towards this area down here. Maybe even right here is a little bit more conservative target. But, I wouldn't be surprised to see price continue to work its way down. So in the very short term, I'm probably bearish. And again, this market's wrapping up for the day, so nothing's going to happen today. But to potentially tomorrow see price continue to work down towards these levels. And then as it comes into here, I'll be very carefully, if I do decide to take a short, very carefully manage it with the anticipation that we might get a bounce from there. So that's the deal with cattle. So for crude oil, I had this trade earlier off this zone here. This was a long position I took, which I closed out at the top here. And as soon as it started running into some trouble here, I closed it. This was actually a nice little long. But you can see, again, much like what cattle did, prices broke down pretty fast thereafter. And on the hourly chart, we've now had at least 2 candles close below this 50. And so this is going to have to be one that we also watch. I still look at this area right here as kind of a structure area to keep an eye on. And then secondarily, maybe on a longer time frame, probably down in this area. So these are kind of the 2 of the areas I'd be looking at. And to see what happens when price comes back into this zone. You can see it's tagged this area many times. So it may or may not hold this area again. If we get a breakthrough here, then the next downside target would again be back at these lows here. And so we'll have to see what happens with crude oil. I did not trade any of this down. Once I took this long, I was pretty much done with it for the day. But obviously, there was definitely a trade to the downside, especially from about this point where it retested this area and went down. This area right in here would have been a decent trade, but I didn't take it. So there you go on crude oil. We'll see what happens there. There's definitely are some layers of support here. But in the short term, I think there's definitely some downside potential. And then for the NASDAQ and NQ, so here's the NASDAQ NQ. Really didn't do much. We were trading below this zone today, but you can see it. I mean, it did go lower. We did make a new low right here, but it really was very lackluster. I mean, this is only a 5-minute chart. I mean, it really didn't do much at all today. So nothing to really speak of. I just don't think there was any real fundamental news or anything to drive this. These NASDAQ and ES, S&P, these financial indices really need something in the, fundamentally, some news or earnings or something to get these things going. And today's Monday too. It just had no direction today, so it just kind of meandered along here. And the ES is pretty much the same thing, only just to the upside. It did go up and kind of retest these highs back here, but then it very quickly rejected off of that. So, there probably was an opportunity to take a short-long position, a short-term long position right in here. That probably would have been the play, but that's it. But other than that, it's just not really very directional at all. It's just kind of drifted higher and then it's come right back, basically to, where it opened today, and now it's kind of splitting the difference between this high and this low. So, and again, this is a 5-minute chart too, and it's very uninspiring. And again, this is, being a 5-minute chart, you expect to see, big impulsive moves, so we just don't. And you go to a higher time frame, this is the way it looks on the higher time frame. This is basically nothing, right? This is where we started today and just kind of drifted a little higher and then just did nothing. So, but we just didn't really have any catalyst to move this today. So there probably was a scalp on this that could have been had, but that's really about it. So overall, pretty quiet, kind of typical for a Monday. But again, I think soybeans has some downside potential. If this area holds, again, this is a real critical spot. If this is a break and retest and then we go higher, or whether this longer-term downtrend now continues, that we had a false breakout in this zone here. So So I'm not, again, I don't make any predictions. I'll wait and let the market tell me what it wants to do. But, from here, we'll have to keep an eye out on that. And then cattle, like I said, I think has definite downside potential, at least back to this area, possibly this area. Those would be the two kind of short-term targets I'd be looking at. So I'll be watching this tomorrow for, some sort of potential like pull back and then sell off potentially. And if I do take any positions, then again, I'd be managing those positions somewhere down in this area right here. And like I said, NQ and ES, we just need some kind of catalyst to break those kind of out of those relatively quiet ranges and areas that they're moving through. So, all right. So that's it, guys. Any questions, comments, leave them down below. Please join the Discord channel. The link will be in the description. And subscribe to the channel. If you're just finding it, make sure you smash that like button. It really helps out. And look forward to speaking to you again tomorrow. Thanks.